Reviving a legend, the resurrection of my Chevrolet G30 van. Just got the call. There's a rare classic out there. And not just any classic, this one's a beast. Let's go check it out. I jumped in the truck and drove over 300 miles just to lay eyes on it. The owner said it's an 80s van, tucked away in this old yard, buried under time. And there it is, a Chevrolet G30, a true piece of American road history. Big, boxy, and bold. From the front end, I could already tell. Late 80s to early 90s model, with the quad square headlights that scream utility and attitude. Under the hood, a 5.7-liter V8 gasoline engine. That's not your average family van. That's power, old school style. But man, the inside, filthy. Years of dust, old debris, and God knows what cluttering every corner. The engine bay, covered in dirt like it hadn't breathed in a decade. But the body panels, still solid. Rear seats, still there. And when I shut the door and heard that classic clunk, it was like music to my ears. One of the windows was missing. Rear quarter panel was dented in. I pushed on it and it just gave. But for a van this size for this little money, I was in. No hesitation. This one's coming home. We pumped up the tires. Those wheels are massive, like they came off a brick oven. Found a flatbed, loaded it up. Thank God the keys were still with it. Don't have to worry about hot wiring or breaking in. But the engine, dead. Wouldn't crank at all. Took us a solid hour to winch it up. The van's so long, over 20 feet, its rear hung off the flatbed. The front bumper even scraped the loading bar. But I didn't care. I wanted this van. Back home, we had to get creative. The rear axle was seized, so I grabbed a jack, lifted it 1 inch at a time, and slowly rolled it off using a winch. Finally, it touched down. For the first time in God knows how long, this van was back on solid ground. The engine's got potential, I can feel it. That 5.7-liter V8, she still got fight in her. Rain started falling, the sky was dimming, but I didn't care. Today we clean. Tomorrow, we revive her. I hopped in, foot on the pedal, gave her a bit of gas. Let's hear what the 90s sounded like. Fired her up, and there it was. A deep rumble. Not perfect, but alive. The cabin still smelled like old booze and mildew, so the deep clean was coming next. But damn, that engine purred. This van isn't just metal and wires, it's memory, it's freedom, it's my childhood in motion, and now she's got one more ride left in her. We did it. That V8 roared to life, just like I hoped it would. It wasn't just noise, it was a promise that this old beast still had something left to give. The engine sounded healthy, strong, like it had been waiting all these years just to be heard again. But hey, we're not done, not by a long shot. Now it's time for the deep clean. This van sat for decades, which means bacteria, mold, and stink settled deep into the seats, carpets, and those long-forgotten air vents. So we brought out the heavy artillery, my go-to disinfectant fogger, the one with that ridiculous name, Death Cap Mushroom Scent. Weird name, but man, it kills everything. Safe for kids, safe for the elderly. Twist the cap, set it off, close the door. Boom. In minutes, the cabin goes from smelling like a haunted thrift store to fresh and $10 on TikTok, and they threw in some free roasted sunflower seeds. Who says restoration can't come with snacks? Back to the engine. This baby's running electronic fuel injection. Pretty advanced for its time. Each injector feeds 4 cylinders independently. It's a clever design, but it means every component has to be spotless. So we pulled the air filter, cleaned the housing, scrubbed down the intake, and checked every single plug and wire. Then came the plugs. Oh man, one look and I knew. These spark plugs were done, caked in black carbon. Some didn't even match. Different brands on the same engine? Someone out there really didn't care. But we do. We yanked all 8, cleaned them up. Some were salvageable. We scoped the cylinders, a little rust, but the walls were still smooth. That's a win in my book. Just to be safe, we poured in a few drops of fresh oil into each cylinder, coating the walls for a smoother crank. Wiring, all replaced. The power leads were a mess. No clips, exposed copper. Not great. But hey, we've dealt with worse. Then came the moment. Battery connected, fuel primed, and click. Nothing. Tried again, and suddenly, it turned. Slowly at first, but it turned. That's all we needed. Our motto? If it cranks, it'll run. And run she did. That moment, that tiny tremble of the crankshaft, it felt like the van breathed again. After all the grime, the rust, the neglect, it was still alive. Want to know the best part? We're just getting started. The transmission, up next. Brakes, already on the lift. Paint, patience. Because this van, this is more than just steel and oil. This is family. This is legacy. This is soul. And you bet we're bringing her back. All right, fuel system next. We already knew something was off when we had to use starter fluid just to wake her up. That V8 should have fired up clean. So yeah, we dove in, fuel injectors out, clamped each one into the vise and went to work. 1 hour later, fingers sore, arms aching, but we finally got the stuck ones loose. It's all in the touch. Steady pressure, not brute force. That's the secret. Then came the cleanup. The whole fuel delivery system, top to bottom, injectors, rails, throttle body, all scrubbed, soaked, and rinsed. By the time the sun started to dip, the garage smelled like gasoline and victory. That mess? Gone. What we got now is clean, ready-to-fire machinery. We wired everything back up, hit the switch, nothing. Turns out one injector was dead, No click, no spray. That meant we were only firing on 4 cylinders. Not good. But we cleaned it again, tested it, and boom, it came back to life. Just saved myself a solid $200 and a 2-week shipping delay from overseas. This is why working on classics pays off. Know-how beats a credit card any day. By hour 6, we were greasy, sore, and smiling. Because there's nothing like the feeling of reviving something forgotten, something left for dead. That kind of satisfaction, you can't buy it, you earn it. One last shot of starter fluid, just for good measure. Crank it. Vroom! She fired again, stronger, cleaner. Even the wipers woke up from their coma. Felt like the whole van was slowly coming back to life, piece by piece. Now about that fuel pump. With American vans like these, the fuel pump is always the diva. And this one, she wasn't singing. No fuel pressure, no buzz, no nothing. My gut told me, that pump's toast. We dropped the tank. What a job. Dust, dirt, and old gas thicker than syrup. We drained every last drop, tossed the pump onto the bench, and yeah, total relic. The kind you'd find in a museum of things that shouldn't work anymore. Luckily, I had a brand new spare sitting on the shelf. Slapped it in, reconnected the lines, and told my assistant to button it up. And of course, I couldn't help but joke. Man, you're getting darker by the day out here. He smirked and shot back. That's 'cause you got me wrenching under the sun, boss. Turns out he's been using that sunscreen from TikTok shop. You know, the one with SPF levels higher than my patience on a hot day. Under $15, name brand, legit stuff. Hey, whatever works. Anyway, back to the van. Fuel system, check. New pump, clean lines, fresh gas. This baby's not just running, she's humming. And me? I'm not just fixing a van, I'm restoring a piece of American soul. We finally got that rusted drum brake off. Man, it was like prying open a time capsule. Layers of dust, rust, and years of forgotten miles. My assistant, Tyler, we call him Lil Shadow, looked like he'd just come out of a coal mine. But hey, that's the job. We didn't stop there. Every inch of the wheel assembly, scrubbed, soaked, wire brushed down to bare metal. The brake shoes, cracked, springs, shot, but the bones, still good. We replaced the hardware, greased up the bearings, cleaned out the brake cylinder ports, and made sure everything was ready to breathe again. Once the brake drum went back on, it spun like it hadn't in decades. That's what we're here for. Then came the moment of truth, the transmission test. Now that we had fuel, a working pump, clean lines, and a steady idle, it was time to throw her in gear. I hit the brake, dropped it into D. The van lurched forward, smooth as butter. I couldn't believe it. This thing hadn't moved under its own power in probably 20 years, and now it was crawling forward like a sleeping giant waking up. Reverse? Same deal. Smooth, no grinding, no clunk. The trans? Solid. Might need a fluid change and filter, but nothing's broken. That alone was worth celebrating. Tyler popped open a cold soda and grinned. Boss, she wants to live. I laughed, wiped the sweat off my brow, and said, then let's give her a reason. Now we're at the phase where most people quit, not us. Next up, cooling system flush, new thermostat and hoses. Check the heater core, probably clogged. And start prepping for paint, because this beast deserves to shine again. We're not building a show car here. We're not slapping on chrome and calling it custom. We're restoring a story, a road warrior, a piece of American grit. This van? She's been through time, rust, neglect, and silence. But now, she's back. Brakes dialed in, transmission smooth as glass, engine purring like it's 1992 again. Now came the final stage, the deep cleanse. We flushed out the old oil, drained the coolant that looked more like pond water, and topped her off with fresh fluids, conditioners, and protectants. Everything this old soul needed to breathe again. Then we hit the interior. Dust on the dash? Gone. Stains in the carpet? Scrubbed out. Mouse nest in the glove box? Don't ask. And that's where this van comes full circle. In a few days, we're filming a short piece, a throwback to the 1990s road trip culture. And guess who's taking the spotlight? That's right, the Chevy G30 van. After weeks of elbow grease, busted knuckles, late nights, and early mornings, this old girl's ready for the camera. She's not just a vehicle anymore. She's a time machine. She's a character. She's a survivor. And come filming day, when those wheels hit the asphalt and the sunset glints off her dusty paint, she's gonna steal the scene. And that's where this van comes full circle. In a few days, we're filming a short piece, a throwback to the 1990s road trip culture. And guess who's taking the spotlight? That's right, the Chevy G30 van. After weeks of elbow grease, busted knuckles, late nights, and early mornings, this old girl's ready for the camera. She's not just a vehicle anymore. She's a time machine. She's a character. She's a survivor. And come filming day, when those wheels hit the asphalt and the sunset glints off her dusty paint, she's gonna steal the scene.
哎，有这意思啊！行，再来一下。
Once we got the wheels turning again, it was time to check the transmission. But before any of that, we had to deal with the wheels. They were completely seized up when the van first arrived. Years of being parked in a dark, damp corner had done a number on it. There was no choice but to tear everything down for a deep clean and full restoration. Inside the brake drums, nothing but rust. The wheels were practically welded in place from corrosion. We had to go all in, no holding back. The rims were rusted solid, especially around the edge. It was time to bring out the ultimate secret weapon. Fired up the heat gun, blasted it with everything we had, even pounded on it with a sledgehammer. Still wouldn't budge. After heating it again, still nothing. Hammer blows? No response. Finally, we reached for the nuclear option, swapped to a heavier sledge, and bam, it came loose. What a fight. The brake drum, covered in dust and layers of rust. It felt like going to war with time itself. But hey, we made it. It finally came off. Even my assistant was wiped out after wrestling that drum off. But all we got for our effort was a pile of rust. Still, we had to clean every inch thoroughly. Next step, see if we could actually get her to run. Brakes fixed, transmission working, engine running smooth. Then it was time for a full top-to-bottom detail. Inside, outside, everything. We flushed the engine oil, replaced the protective fluids, scrubbed every surface until she shined like new. Every bit of effort paid off. After a full afternoon of nonstop work, my assistant and I brought the old girl back to life. The results, totally worth it. Almost there now. And now, my friends, we're ready to shoot a 90s era scene using this very Chevy van from that decade. After days of grinding, wrenching, scrubbing, and hammering, we finally brought this classic Chevy van back to its former glory. Double asterisk.